Well, thanks for stopping by. And today I would like to share with you how this journey started for me. It was completely unintentional. And I think that's the case for many of us, right? We end up somewhere. But when you go back and connect the dots, as Steve Jobs says, you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can connect the dots looking back. How my journey began with my book, Lean Into Your Light, I didn't have a vision for a book. Quite frankly, I had a vision for a book, but it was in the yoga world, which is my passion, my background. It's what I do. I teach, I practice, I learn, I study about back care, because through yoga and some other modalities, I was able to alleviate some severe sciatica. That was like 20 years ago. It was debilitating. I wanted to die. Truly, I wanted to die. And they wanted to do surgery, the doctors, the surgeons. And I was like, no, I was way too young and I just didn't believe in it. And anyway, so that was a book that I had kind of on the back burner and I started, but I didn't have any kind of burning desire to write a book. My burning desire was to help my daughter. Back in like 2017, I think it started, when she was just in a negative phase. Hey, we all have them, right? And it was constant, it was continuous, it was daily, and it wasn't dissipating, it wasn't slowing down. And I just simply started to text her positive statements. They were I am statements, because I am, of course, if you don't know, are the two most powerful creative words in any language. And so I just got an inspiration one day to hopefully lift her mood. And they kind of came as a download from somewhere, or an upload from inside. I don't know. I just had my phone with me. I hit, record a video, talk to text, and they just came out of my mouth. I am forgiven. I am whole. I am eternal. I am creative. I am welcome. I am beautiful, because we all are, inside and out. Anyway, just a kind of a laundry list that came from nowhere, to zero effort. Like there was a little effort there, zero effort. And I cleaned them up in the text, and it was exactly 3 words, I am, and whatever came after it. And I sent them to her. And a couple of days later, when I spoke with her, I'm all excited, hey, I'm going to get the mom pat on the back. And I said, hey, what'd you think about that text and the positive I am statements? And she was kind of like, ha, ha, ha. I didn't even look at it. I didn't even read it. And while it did kind of piss me off, it just pivoted me in another direction. I was like, okay, because my burning desire was to somehow assist her, my daughter, Caitlin, to look in another direction, to maybe not do a complete 180 pivot, because that's difficult to do, but little incremental pivots. Maybe life isn't so bad. I woke up today, I had a roof over my head. I had clothes on my back. I had food, pretty basic, right? But we got to be grateful for the basics. And I know she loves to read, so I bought a blank artist sketchbook, and I just took that thread from the text, and I hand wrote them with gold Sharpies. Gold is a wealth color, not surprisingly, it's gold. And I eventually gave her the book. When I saw her, she loved it and left it on the table. I had no intention of publishing a book, but a friend of hers saw it and said she wanted one. And then that sparked something within me. I thought, oh, wow, like perhaps, other people want that and can learn from this experience, and I can share this message. And it took a while, because I didn't want to just publish a book of I am statements, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like for me, I'm like, well, why? How come? Like, why does that work? Give me some history. I need some examples. I need to know a little bit more about this. And it took me about 5 years or so It wasn't a 9 to 5 kind of job that I did. I did it when I was inspired. And because I didn't have any kind of deadline, self-imposed, I did it when I felt like that wave of inspiration came, and sometimes that wave crashed, and I really honored that, which kind of surprising for me because I'm used to push through things, and anyway, that was in the past. So the reason I'm telling you this is I had a vision of, helping my daughter. And then the vision became a little broader, or a lot broader, as to, hey, if this can help 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, I'm all in. I'll take the time, I'll put the money into creating this, and let's see what happens. So what happened was I didn't tell anybody about this book. But when I I considered opening the floodgates when I told a good friend of mine, Kimberly, and I sent her the, if you want to call it the manuscript, the Word doc, basically, I had in my computer. She loved it. I said, please give me your absolute honest opinion, good, bad, ugly, whatever. I want to know it all. And, there were a couple of parts she goes, this doesn't make sense. And I realized, when I reread it, that it wouldn't make sense to somebody else but me, because I was there or I lived it. And so that was super helpful. Then she says, hey, you should talk to my friend Sue. She just published a book. I said, fantastic. So I had a conversation with Sue, really great. She goes, you should talk to Carol. Carol was my publisher. I said, okay, that's great. Let's talk to Carol. And I talked to Carol, and she loved my story, and she became my book publisher. I couldn't have planned that. I could not have sat down with a piece of paper and said, well, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. When you have this desire, this burning desire, or even a vague vision, right? Mechanisms, things will fall into place that seem like magic, because it kind of is magic. And the domino effect, right, will happen. So whatever that might be for you, and and I could go on and on about the book. I'm blessed. It became a bestseller. I won an award about a year ago, and it's touching people's lives, which brings me great joy. Another example of having a vision, a vague vision, and then things falling into place. A number of years ago, I was not wanting to live where I was living, which is in California. And so I kind of rolled this around for a while. I hadn't really told anybody, but I happened to mention it to a friend of mine. I said, I'm just not really digging living here. And he goes, well, where do you want to go? I said, I'm not exactly sure, but I love the tropics. Most people will complain about the tropics. It's hot, it's humid, or whatever. I like it. That's me. So anyway, he goes, hey, do you remember Chris? Remember that guy, Chris? I said, I met him at a party or two. I know who he is, but I don't really know him. Oh, he has a house in Central America, and maybe have a conversation with him, because he doesn't live there. He lives here. I said, okay. So I reached out to Chris, and anyway, had a couple of conversations. I ended up moving to Belize and living there and in his house for a while, and getting out of my head, which is what I had wanted to do. And so, another, example of having a vision. In that case, it was kind of vague. And I'm going to give you one more. That was way back in 1999. I was married at the time, 2 little kids. My youngest, they're 2 years apart. My youngest was just a couple of months old. And we were looking for a house. And we had certain criteria on bedrooms and square footage and a couple of nice to haves. And we had a great real estate agent. And after looking at about, 8 or 9 homes that just we were just kind of like, we're like, oh my God, this is not fun. I mean, these are not us. And so my ex-husband says out loud, he goes, you know what I really want? I said, tell me, what do you really want? He goes, I want a house that inspires me. And I thought, that's fantastic, right? What doesn't want to be inspired? Plus, he worked at home So, he spent a lot of time at home, and I was just mostly a stay-at-home mom. So I was like, I was on board that time. Like, let's get on that train. Let's find this inspirational house. I kid you not. A day or two later, our real estate agent, Kathy, calls. She goes, I just did a broker's tour at this house. It's amazing. I know you don't want to live on the east side of town, but you got to see this house. Like, it's got a pool, it's got a fountain, it's got a rose garden, it's got fruit trees, it has a sauna, it has a hot tub, it has, all these things. And some were like on the nice to have list, but they weren't mandatory. So I left the kids with Terry and I drove over to look at this house, and I tried to contain my excitement because I'm like, oh my God, I want this like right now. So I remember I looked through the whole house and I called him and I was trying to keep my cool. And he's like, so is it nice? What do you think? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty nice. I think you should come look at it. And meanwhile, inside, I'm like, oh my God, we're going to buy this house. And we did. So he came over and he looked at it and he looked at me and we looked at our real estate agent. And we're like, okay, we'll make an offer. How much should we offer? She goes, just offer asking price. And we did. We bought a house like right then and there. It was the most amazing house, amazing property. Sorry, that's my dog in the water bowl. And so again, just another example when you have, and we all have them, this vision, you go, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but this is something I desire. The universe, right? Whatever you want to call it, you send out these waves of invisible vibrations, otherwise known as, that's called the law of vibration. It's first the law of vibration, then, so the vibration goes out there and then the attraction happens. So that's often left out of the law of attraction. So magic happens. So what's your vision? As vague as it might be, right? Put it out there. Say it out loud. Now I have a cat. Hey, I got to deal with that in a second. Put it out there. Write it down. Tell a trusted friend, whatever it is. And even if you don't know exactly everything about it, it doesn't matter. Put it out there and let me know what happens. I'm excited to hear about it. Thanks again for stopping by. Please subscribe. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you very soon.